I know it kind of broke out of this pullback in the last week or so uh, with a strong move in the morning. I did sell off end of the day. I wasn't around. So they hit it at the end of the day to try to get it back above below this area here, but we're gapping up this morning. So the more time we spend above here, the more likely it is we test the all-time high. I'm playing it with call options, call spreads. I sold some puts about 5%, 10% below the market to finance some of it. So that's kind of where we are in the SPYs. On IWM, we had a pretty good bounce off that 135 area. We got up to 137 and a quarter or so yesterday. Came in and then spent the rest of the day holding below 137. So I think on this one, you're looking for some sort of close above 137 to catch attention for move back up. All-time high is all the way up here near 139. Wouldn't mind seeing another week or two of consolidation between 135 and 139. Set us up for the next break. So this was a big move here. From we pulled back from 134 to 130, and we ripped right up to 138. So that topped out on the 9th. So 3 weeks now. Maybe one more week, and then next week we kind of move outside the range. All right, live. So this is one that we've traded a couple times over the years. It's gone parabolic, and people have gotten shorted. You know, you look at it, the fundamentals, you're kind of like, I don't know, it looks sketchy, but you know, it's a publicly traded U.S.-based company. They own one of the businesses they own has these net operating losses, which keep them from paying taxes right now. And so the jump in sales, they've got that cash. They also locked up their largest shareholder for 5 years, which I thought was kind of interesting. Here's what it did back in the beginning of 2014. It did this, you know, just crazy, really. It went from 10 to 50. I think I know some people got crushed in this. And then it came down to 28. Actually, a guy worked for us. So it came back down. I think he maybe weaseled out of it, made money, and then it ripped up to 70 before coming back down, spending a few years doing nothing, and now this morning it's gapping up to 33. So anything like this, with any of these low floats, when they have a history of going crazy, you have to be aware of that. The float, which I put on the sheet, is under 3 million shares. It's higher priced than some of these other ones we look at that are like $5, $10, where people can just scoop up the entire float, even individual traders. The market cap on this one now is over 100 million. Small short interest coming into these numbers. So here was the initial move above 30. They pushed it in the pre-market up here to 35. In these situations, I'm kind of curious, like red on the open, does it get hammered? Does it come down 30, 31, maybe even lower? And then people think it's done, and then they just rip it through the pre-market high. So that's the history of the stock, at least. But right now, failed up here above 35. Unfortunately, it normally only trades 200,000 shares a day. It did 1 million last time it spiked above 16. We got to go back to December of last year when it did 1.4, 1.5 million 2 days. It went crazy. So I imagine it could do 2 million plus shares today. But it's going to be pretty thin. So right on the open, comes down into this area here, starts to get bought, make you buy small, and then ideal situation would be it rips right back up into the 33, 35 area and just spend some time there and doesn't break out right away and breaks out after 10, 10:30. So you can kind of accumulate in that consolidation. Most of the money made in these low price stocks, like gap up the first day, I see is when it has a nice consolidation right after the open, and it gives people a chance to accumulate a larger position, and then breaks out of that consolidation, attracting a lot of attention. And that's, and then you have a couple more waves. All right, Gale. So these guys got approval for a clinical trial. Here's the daily. So there's a $40 stock. Had some bad news, went to 5, tried to rally it up, and just trended all the way down to $2. So there's some upside here. Not sure anyone is that incentivized to sell this thing until 3.25. This recent breakdown was bought in the 260s here for 560s and made its next leg down. Had a couple of times to break below 2, couldn't. So we're going to be strong today. Consolidate above 260 and try to walk it back up to this. It broke down from on November 29. Good video. Yeah, this is the definition of parabolic now. It was in a steady uptrend since it gapped up on earnings back in May. Gap up to 80 here on November earnings. Sold off from 94. I got a bunch of raised price targets. I think probably around this day here when it went from 92 to 96. So basically it's gone the last couple of weeks from 90 to 120. 30% move. The close at the high yesterday, they walked it up to 118 and a half in the after hours. This morning spiked above 120 once, came down 70 cents. I think people would like to see what it does after the market opens at this 120. Big whole number divisible by 10. But in something like this, the same thing I think you probably heard me saying yesterday, after it makes a run up like this and then goes up, starts to come off, you want to see like a big red bar, like something like this. Then you want to see like this. When you get something like this, then you can get the big reversal, erase the move. This goes straight down. And people will be looking at these levels from yesterday, if that's what happens. So we'll just go with the price action. But the one thing to remember is when something goes vertical like this, it will come off 10 to 20% in probably 2 or 3 days. And so that's why you want to look for that sign. What you have, though, at the end of the year here is not a lot of people incentivized to sell and have to pay the capital gains tax in April. But in January, if you're long from 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever, you sell it in January above 100. Your tax bill doesn't come due until April 2018. And you're probably thinking you can buy it back cheaper. So could definitely have a 2, 4, 5 point pullback, just not that big one. It's tough to get bigger people to really sell before next year. CNAT, it wasn't around when this broke out yesterday, but I thought this was a relatively easy trade. We had highlighted that 5 area. Once it broke above 5 and consolidated, it went up another $1 without going down. So I'm assuming some people made money in that. but it broke above 5, and then it held above 510 for a half hour, and then it started another leg, and then had its final leg, which was a big one, taking it to 630. First potential support is afternoon support, 575. Touched that in the pre-market already. Below that, you're looking at 540 to 550 probably. IONS was up a bunch. First move was down. It held 55 twice in the morning, tried to reverse, failed here at 56. And then it couldn't hold below 55. So got back above, they accumulated, came back to retest. Basically, the news was good enough to keep this gap here from filling, but not good enough to get this down move in the morning to reverse. So if it takes out yesterday's low, it should fill the gap. 53.5, 54. Starts holding above afternoon resistance, 55.60 and 56. I'd be watching for it to see if this trend can continue. SGEM. This one never bounced. This is the clinical hold. It tried to bounce on the open. Put in a low at the pre-market and held higher on the open. Couldn't hold above 54. They sold it back down to where it was bought in the pre-market, but never broke down from there. So 51.60, 51.70 support. And where it broke down here, around 52.80. You notice it holding above 52.80 for a while, the way it was consolidating here. That should catch your attention. I'm going to break above 53. That's it. Again, most 90% of the desk is in here. It's always going to be a little bit of something. Perhaps it's NVIDIA. Maybe NVIDIA makes a 2-4 point move, something like that. One or two other things pop up. But again, spend time compiling your trades for the year, building the patterns, filing them away, trying to figure out ways to automate your filters as well as how you're trade managing them. The more automation you can do on your setups, the more you can focus in on the most in-play names each day, and allow your automation to help you capture kind of more individual moves in the market. Be patient. Good luck.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important, and how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.